Welcome, good morning. Whether you are just an individual coming in today to find out and suss out this Train the Team webinar and the main setup of the mobile side of things with SiteApp Pro, or if you have your whole team here today and you're all sitting around chilling together, sitting to watch me for the next 45 minutes to an hour, good luck and enjoy. We are really going to dive in today on that kind of mobile side of everything with SiteApp Pro. I'm Rochelle and I'm going to be your guide today. So super excited to show you guys around and get familiar with the mobile and everything you can kind of do with it so that we can start jumping in and getting all that health and safety completed on a day-to-day basis. So as you can see here, we have got the mobile interface. So we're all on our phones or a tablet and we are jumping in, going to log in for the day, and this is where we're going to come to. So this is the home screen that we're first opening up to. This will depend the first screen that you come to that your administrator might have set up. So if you do have any questions about today as well, about different things that are maybe not the setup that you have on your mobile, just talk to the administrator of your company, or just find out who's running the health and safety or the SiteApp Pro system for you and ask them, hey, why is my screen like this? How am I using it? How am I supposed to really dive in and get the most out of this for us? Awesome. So first off, we have this home screen. I'm just going to dive into the different aspects we can see here. So to the left, we've got our engagement score. Now, this might be really applicable to you and your team, and others of you might not need this as much as the other companies. But what it is it's a score of your usage. So I, as a user, can jump in here, look at this by clicking into it, and it gives me kind of a breakdown of all the different usage based on my check-ins, my completed forms, and just kind of active days and things like that. So my activity within the mobile. It's really, really helpful to be able to have this here so that you can keep track of your activity if your company is utilizing this engagement score to track and see how the team's engaging. A lot of people might be putting in a kind of competition where whoever has the most maybe check-ins for the month is going to get a prize or something like that. A lot of people use that kind of setup or competition-based engagement. So we can kind of come in here, keep track of our own engagement and know if we're going to be doing really well to kind of get towards that prize and get competitive with our team members. So come in here, have a bit of a look at your individual engagement and the history across different months, just to keep track of your personal development and growth with that. Then moving along, we have our image aspect. This is really just a fun one for you to add your own personal ID photo if you want. Some people have their dogs or animals there as well, so have fun with it. It doesn't have to always be your face, but yeah, go ahead and kind of add in a personalized image in this part. Then moving across, we have our induction button. So this is a form that is always logged into this button here. It's loaded in behind it. And whenever you jump onto a new site, it'll show up red like my one is here, which kind of means I haven't done my induction and I need to do it. It's a really good little reminder to say, okay, I haven't been inducted to this site, jump into this form, complete it, and we know that we're good and ready to go for that site for the induction. Then you have your site selector. So in this tab here, we can click on it and it will show us the list of different jobs, projects, sites that we have to go to and save forms to. The closest one physically to your device should be showing up at the top. So that's why my bungalow renovation is showing right now for me. But I can choose any other site I might want to go to as well. So say I want to move into the history restoration instead of Bush Road. So I'll click on that. And now you can see the interface has changed a little bit. I've actually already done my induction for this site. So that's why that's all green now. So that's what it'll look like when it's completed. And that's how we can kind of, change our different locations we're going to go and save the forms to. So say I'm jumping onto the heritage site today and I'm ready to go. So I know, okay, I need to check in for the day. I'm going to click on this button. And the way my administrator has set up my system is to have a form automatically pop up. Some of you might not have a form pop up automatically. So what you'll do is just check in, it'll automatically just be ready to go and you can go find your forms, or you'll have this form kind of show up automatically for you. So in my case, I'll go, yep, I'm going to fill out this personal pre-start for the day. I have got my PPE for the task at hand. All my hazards are covered in the current risk assessment. I'm about to go check my hazard board. So I'll say, yep, I'm all good for that. And then I'm trained in today's tasks, hopefully. And I'm feeling safe and well to start work. So I'll say, yep, that's all good. I don't have any other details to add to this, so I don't need to add images or any kind of notes in these aspects here. So what I'm going to do is just click Save Final. That'll then complete that form for me, and then we can go through and add to the rest of our site and things like that. So that's all done. You can see I'm checked in now, and when I'm ready, I'll check out for the end of the day. So I'll come back to this home screen, checked out, and it'll be good to go. But for now, I want to go and see the other aspects of the system. So hazard board, as we can see, there's a little 1 on this hazard board, which means there's something on the hazard board, a hazard I haven't acknowledged or read yet. So I need to be going into that, seeing the ones I've already done, and then go and acknowledge that new one. So I'll click into my hazard board. I can see here we've got some slip, strips, and falls, access to scaffolding. These tiles here have a green tick in the top right, which means I've already, as a user, looked at these. So I know we're good on these, but it's really good here to just kind of look through what we already are aware of. Maybe bees and wasps, someone got rid of that, and we don't need that hazard there anymore. So I might click into this and change the status from live to not live. Because I'm on site, I know that that's there. So we update that and we can remove it from the list. So now the whole team doesn't have to worry about that hazard anymore. Now moving through, you can see here there's a red one, which means confined spaces and entry and egress is something I haven't looked at. I need to be aware of this as well. So obviously that's now showing it as red. But what we can do is jump into it as well if we want to add any other PPE, any other images you might have as well, save that off. And to make sure that this turns green, we want to just scroll to the bottom where we can click read and understand and open that up. It then will update all of my tiles so that they're all now green. Just like how that one was red before, we've now moved it over to acknowledged. That then gives the administration a log that you've kind of acknowledged this site and then all the hazards on it. So that then we know, okay, Rochelle came into the site and looked at these on this day and we can keep track of it. Awesome. So that's all of the ones that are currently loaded into the hazard board. But say I've come onto site and I have found a new one. I've looked through this list and I'm like, okay, there's actually a new one we don't see here. So I need to add in a new hazard. I'll go into the top right, click on new, and that's going to give me a little template to start filling out. First off, we have the description, which will just be the hazard selector. We can put the status of it. If maybe it's not live until it's only live until a certain date, we know it's going to be kind of cleaned up or fixed by a certain date, we can pop that in. Or alternatively, we just put it to live. And then we can kind of put in our categories, control measures, rate the risk of that, put in the PPE additional to it, and then also images that we might have available. Maybe grab your phone, take some photos of the hazard, and then that's all ready for the team to see. When you're done with that, we click save and it'll just add it to the list. And then let the rest of the team know that there's something new to acknowledge and see. Awesome. So that is the hazard board. We're done with that now. We know we're up to date. All those notification symbols have gone away. Now moving through, we have our incident button. This is our site incident injury register. So there's a form that links to this button, similar to how the induction one does, but this is just ad hoc. So whenever you need to fill out an incident report, come to the home screen, click on this button really easily, and you'll get a form that'll open up with that site incident and injury register. Fill out the information, click save final, and it'll just save to the site that you had loaded in before. So in my case, it was the history restoration one. Awesome. Then from there, you also have got your ad hoc list. So this is just as and when required forms, the ones we just go to on a single kind of use basis. So a near miss might happen and we need to fill out a report for it. Or maybe you're doing your maintenance kind of sporadically and you're doing a check on it or a inspection kind of form on a random basis. So we'll go to this button, find the form, save it to the history restoration site or whatever site you have selected. Beautiful. Then from there, we go to the to-do list. So this is our main place we're going to be going to for our form completion on a general kind of setup. So we have all of our today's tasks, this week's tasks, and this month's tasks. And what that means is that we're going to find forms here that are scheduled. They're kind of rotational. So on a daily, weekly, or monthly setting, and they're going to have today tasks, for example, I have a pre-start. This week we have a toolbox to do. Maybe we'll complete this toolbox this week, and next week we'll get a fresh blank form to kind of complete. So they're your rotational forms. And then you're going to move down the screen to the pinned forms. These have a bit of a different function. They're more live and living. So as you can see here, I've got a site-specific risk assessment. So maybe we have 5-day job happening in this history restoration Birkenhead, and day 1, we've got certain hazards we need to acknowledge. So we'll pop them in there. And then day 2, we need to be able to see the stuff from before, but keep adding on. So this form's going to stay open throughout the whole 5 days, and we'll just keep adding information to it. Awesome. Then lastly, we have our ad hoc forms. So similar to the home screen, down the bottom right, click on the plus button, and this is taking us to that list of all the other forms available. So as and when required, near misses, incident or inspection reports, maybe a near kind of maintenance form we might want to go to. This is where we're going to find it. So jump in here, do the little search of what form you need. It'll come up to the top, ready to go. Alternatively, we can just kind of love heart the ones that we know are coming across our desk a lot, or you have to fill out a lot. You're responsible for them maybe. So we can click in here and go, okay, I know I need to be looking at swims quite often. So I'll put that as my form that's up the top. Awesome. So that is the gist of your forms. We have those scheduled ones, the pinned ones, and then the ad hoc option. So just kind of go to the different places to find the forms that you know you need to be completing on those different bases, whether it's rotational, live and living, or just one-off. Awesome. So that's your form completion. Now, when you do jump into a form as well, let's use this toolbox talk, for example. So in here, I'm going to start to just fill out the forms so we can get a good idea of how we're going to start to complete them. So I'm maybe the foreman, I'm jumping in, I'm going to fill out this toolbox talk for my team today. So what we're going to say is, are there any health and safety issues we need to be aware of? Nope, we're actually quite good this week. Who attended the toolbox talk? So in this case, I might say I did, and then maybe a few other people. So I'm just going to click through the list of people who were there. Now, say for this, we actually need to take a photo of the team as well. So you'll see these 2 buttons generally pop up on every question as you start to answer them. So in this case, I want to take a photo of my team. We'll click on that image icon and just grab a little screenshot or a little selfie maybe of all the team together. Save that one off, and then that's all ready to go with who's attended. We might also have an answer that asks us to take a photo of the team. So they'll have that answer type that actually pulls from the taking of a photo. So that one's also there too. So you might grab an image. In this case, I'm on my web version, so I'll just kind of choose a file. I'll save it for that way. We'll leave it for now. And then we move through with the other questions. So are there any resources to view? This one here is going to pull from the resources your administrator has uploaded already. So in that case, we might say, okay, we want to look at this swims today and talk about that in our toolbox talk. So we're linking that through, and then clicking on the eye icon will open up that document into another kind of browser screen for you to all look into and read about. Then you have any jobs planned being reviewed today. We might say, nope, we're okay. We'll give a reason. If not, sometimes there'll be a pop-up that asks you a bit more detail as to why you answered that way. And if we click yes in this case, then we can just move through it. Are there any outcomes or actions to review? Nope, we're okay. Maybe if you said yes, we might want to add some details about that. So we could add in through this little dotted line here a note. So clicking on this one, it loads for me, there it is. We get the note option, and then we'll pop in details there as to what we want to kind of talk about. Cool. In this case, we don't, so we'll move through. Are there any other operational issues? We might want to type this in here. Really handy as well if you've got an iPhone or you have that talk to text kind of aspect within your keyboard. You can click on the little microphone, talk into your phone, and then it'll just kind of type it out for you. Just bear in mind, it does take a little bit of time for the device and your AI in your phone, like your Siri, for example, to get used to your voice and make it actually grammatically correct. So just kind of test it out a little bit and talk into your phone a few more times to get it started to type the right thing, and just adjust it as it goes. And then slowly but surely you'll get it really fast, and you can just talk into your phone instead of having to type it out, which is always ideal. We want speed and kind of accuracy with that. So go for your life, explore that a bit more. Moving through the rest, there's a few other discussion points. So we might want to kind of just fill out these. They're all the kind of type it out options. If you are finding that your forms are having to be typed out a lot and you're saying to your team, your maybe administrator, this is quite taking a lot of time, we can always go back to them. They can change the design. So definitely talk to the person who's running your Site Pro system, and they can assist you as well with all of the completion. Are there any incidents that might be involved in this? In this case, what we might want to say is, yes, Tom broke his arm this week. And then what we can do is, because we have an incident that we've acknowledged here, we might have to log the incident. So maybe we've all said, okay, has anyone actually done an incident report on that? We might say no. So what I'll do in this case as the foreman is I will click into this dotted option and I'm going to make a corrective action. So this will then tell me make a incident report for Tom. Awesome. Obviously, put as much information as you can to assist the person you're assigning this kind of corrective action or task to. But I'm going to go and do it to myself in this case because maybe I'm the foreman and I need to make the report. So I'll go and assign this to myself. The status is obviously to do. Priority would actually be quite high because no one's reported this yet, which is not a good thing. So we want to make that really important. And then the due date, I might say, is today, actually. I need to complete that. Now, in this case, because we're putting an incident report as the task to be completed, we could also link in the form. So I'll say add ad hoc form. I would come in here and type in incident and actually click on the incident and injury register form so that then that task will have the form already linked to it. I just click on it as the foreman and I complete that form. So I'll save that off. And now that's added it to this question that it's specific to. I'll save it, and you can see that that little kind of icon there means someone's been assigned a task related to this question. Now we can move through. We've got an attendee signature, so we'll say, okay, Michelle was here, scribbles her initials, and maybe the rest of the team also needs to add their signature, so we'll go repeat previous question, and someone else will come in here and go scribble. Slowly build up over time all those different signatures, and then we can go, everyone has signed, so we're good to go. Now, this question also has, are we using machinery? So this is a conditional section. This is one of those answer types where if this applies to you, we can click onto it, say yes, if that's my applicable situation, and then it generally will open up some questions and things. We might kind of want to put some notes on it and any other additional stuff to it so that we can kind of add more detail if we need to. In this case, I might come in here and say no. So that's all good. Now what we're going to do is add and save this as a draft for now because I didn't have that team photo, but that's okay. So we've got that all done. It's in a pause state, as you can see, because it's half done. If it was fully completed, it'll show with that tick to the right and kind of be grayed out slightly so we can see that that's all completed. Beautiful. Now we can see my corrective actions are starting to show up as well. So when I click into this one, I can see, oh, okay, make an incident report for Tom's injury. That was assigned to me, so that showed up on my to-do list. And we can see that site incident and injury register form to go and complete. So I'll click into that, and now my incident form's there. Fill out this incident form, and it's all saved to the correct site as well, ready to go. And so that's kind of linking that big loop of corrective actions being used. So we've got that toolbox we started with, we discussed that issue that happened, and then we're going to go and do an incident form related to that issue. So sometimes your administrator might have set up a process like that. It might not necessarily be for incidents and toolbox like the example I did today, but have a bit of a think about how you can use those corrective actions to be like, okay, we discussed this and I need to have this form completed. Let's make a corrective action to link it. Awesome. So that is the gist there of those ones. And as you can see, as I start to click into here and do that form, I will then go click to make it done. So we know, okay, that's completed. We don't want it in our to-do list anymore, and it's removed. So a really easy way to keep track of your tasks because they're showing up there in your to-do list. Awesome. So that is the general flow of your daily work within Site App Pro. You're going to come to your forms, fill them out on that kind of scheduled basis that they're set to, jump into your pinned ones as and when you need to kind of add the information over time, and then go to your ad hoc ones when we do a one-off form. And then start to use those corrective actions within forms or even just in general within your tasks that you need to be doing or assigning to people, so they come up on the to-do list as well. From there, we can obviously dive in a little bit deeper if we need to as well. So a few little things, if you maybe are out of service, so you're quite, you're in a location where you are filling out the forms, but they're not immediately updating maybe, what we'll do is utilize this little Wi-Fi button in the top right. Just click on that and it'll kind of refresh it when you are back in service. So all the data pulls back through to reporting. Super handy to get that going, really easy for your administrator to then see. Then you also can dive into the menu where we've got a few different options and tabs we can start to go into. You may use some of these, maybe not all of them. It also depends on your level of responsibility you've been given within the team. So maybe you're a foreman or a team lead and you need to be adding sites from the mobile or adding users from the mobile. So you'll start to use those tabs like sites and users. But if you're just generally coming in, filling out forms, you might not use this tab as much. You'll probably just use things like the Save Forms tab. That's the main one you'd go to probably. So just talk to your administrator again, figure out which ones you need to utilize the most, and just dive into those to get the usage of the system that you need to have. For today's purpose, I'm going to dive into each of them so you can understand each of them and then also what you can do in each of them. So first off, we have the home screen and the to-do list, which just navigate back to those pages for you. Then you have your actions tab. This one here is going to allow you to see all those corrective actions that are being made in one place. So really easy, you can start to filter just down to my ones. So I know, okay, these are either made by me or assigned to me. I can also go into which ones are active. So maybe I need to see what things need to be done still. And lastly, we can see overdue. So I know, okay, I'm the team lead. I'm going to jump in here and see, okay, Bradley's got some stuff to do. Rochelle's got some stuff to do. Maybe I'll follow them up on those because they're quite overdue. Also, what we can do is add our new corrective action just on the fly. So maybe it's not linked to a form in general. We just want to make a corrective action. So we're going to go into the plus button at the top right, and that'll give us that template to build a corrective action and make a task for someone. Awesome. Now from there, the last little thing that really is helpful in this is if we have any incident one, I think let's try find that one I made. So we've got make an incident report from Tom's injury. And what we can do is click on this little box to the right, which will link us through to the form it came from. So you can start to see, okay, where did this corrective action, where was it made? So that we can kind of trace the kind of process of it. Beautiful. Alternatively, we can also click into the corrective action and you have that form that we linked as well. So that we can kind of go either back to the toolbox talk or we can link through to the incident we found before. Awesome. That is the gist of your corrective actions. Then we have our messages tab. This is really a hub of any kind of broadcasted messages the administration has sent to you as a team. So generally, from their console, they can send off messages to all of you or just individual people as well. They can kind of say, hey, I need you guys to be completing your toolbox, please. I've seen a lack of completion or no one's checking in. Let's all get onto that. So you might see messages start coming in here for those kinds of updates. Then, if you also need to send off any messages to anyone, if you have that level of access that's a little bit higher than just kind of completing forms, talk to your administrator. If you do have that access, generally it'll be a foreman or a team lead, then you can kind of go in and add that kind of message as well on your end, say whatever you need to say, and you can either send it to everyone or just one person. So come into the list, say, okay, I want to send it just to Rochelle, and then write my message, click send. Perfect. From there, we have our save forms. So this is that tab that everyone generally will kind of come into. It's really handy off the bat to see your completed forms in one place. Of course, we have some different filters we need to set as well. So keep in mind that this is the site that I already had pre-selected, and it's just showing me the last 7 days. So if I want to change any date ranges, we can kind of go to different months, like December, for example, and see what forms I did in December. I wasn't very good on the Heritage Registration site in December, but this week we're much better. So we'll go into there and see my forms I did. Toolbox Talk, for example, here is still in its draft state, so I can always click into that and change and edit those required fields if I need to kind of complete that form in its entirety. Really good if you have incident forms, for example, that maybe need to have a signature, but the person wasn't there. So you can draft it, save it just as a draft, come back into save forms, open that incident when you do have the person with you, and you can grab their signature. That's just one example, but you might find cases where that happens. Other options here, if you are that little level higher of access, you can jump into the top right here and you can turn off this toggle where it says only my forms so that you can see everyone's completed forms. At the moment, there's no one else who's completed anything on the history registration site, but what we can do is see maybe another team member's form or incident form or toolbox talk or pre-start that they completed. And then you can jump into it, edit a little bit if you need to, or jump in, see something's wrong and let them know they need to change it. Awesome. That is the gist of your save forms. Moving through, we have got our sites, projects, and jobs. Now, I've just named this 3 different things because people call it different things. So your one will be nice and clean, of course, whether it's site or jobs that you guys use as your lingo. But overall, this is the list of those locations you go to work. So what we can do is jump into different ones. You can see I've got a check-in that's done for history restoration. And what we can do is jump into maybe Bungalow, for example, see the map of it, any details of that site, and any resources that are specific to that site as well. This is the main one you'll probably be utilizing. For example, here we've got a site permit. So maybe I'm on the site of this bungalow renovation. Someone's asked, where's everyone's permits or where's the site permit? What I have is my phone in my back pocket, ready to pull that resource out to show them. So it's just a really quick way of having all the things you need in one place, ready to show. Additionally, we can start to see check-in and outs from this list as well. So maybe an emergency's happened and you need to do a muster call. So we can jump in and show the check-ins for that specific site. At this point, we don't have any users, but this is the users that are going to be checked in for the day and any visitors who might have signed on with a visitor QR code. So find this list, call out the people who are on it, say, yes, we're here. If not, then we can go find their user details, call them and check if they're actually okay. Awesome. That is the gist of your sites. If you are a manager who needs to kind of add sites from the mobile as well, when you jump into the sites tab, you can click on that plus button and start to add in a basic template of the site with its name and address and any other details you might know about the site as well. Awesome. In the menu again, we have got suppliers and contractors. So this is generally that list of any subcontractor companies you guys might be working with. Some people use this tab in different ways. Sometimes it's just a contact list as well. So really talk to your administrator again about how this tab is being used and what you're going to it for. But in here, I've got my Bobby Builders contractors. So I can see in here their information. I could call them if I need to. Mobile number there if they're kind of late or something. Also, additionally, we have all of their certificates. So maybe they've got certain qualifications we need to be able to produce and show people. This is where we can go to see them. Amazing. Then we also have our resources section. So this is any resource that is company-wide. So we've got kind of SWMS documents here maybe, any other just information you might need as a document to read or show someone if you need it. So there's a documents version, and if you've got a high level of access, you can start to see kind of certificates that have got a bit more security around them. But yeah, other than that, we can start to favorite ones we know are coming up a lot that we have to show people, or alternatively just click on it and it'll show up in another kind of tab for you to produce and show someone. Awesome. Equipment. If you are utilizing equipment, say I am in charge of this tractor, this top one here. I need to maybe keep track of its maintenance dates. So I can see here, okay, this is actually overdue because it's showing up in red. So we can kind of start to use these different icons to visualize them. So clicking on the eye icon, we can see that last maintenance form I might have completed for it. And just now we can click in, update it, change what we need. Alternatively, we can start to see any resources that are attached to it. So clicking on this eye icon to see that resource that's updated. This one here has just got an expiry date for the service to keep track of. And then alternatively, you also have the edit button, which allows you to see the details of that equipment. So the name, the registration numbers, all that kind of stuff that you have here. And then resources are also available from here too. Perfect. If you do need to add in new equipment, maybe you have a new vehicle and it's not on the list here, maybe the administrator might not have had time to load it in. So what you can do is go into the top plus button and add in that basic information, and then they can go and add the extra layers later. Maybe make a corrective action for them to say, hey, I've added my truck in, please put more details, add my resources and things like that. Awesome. Then last few things we have is users. This is that list of all the staff. So all of your team are loaded in here. We can see I'm at the top there, so I'm all good to go. And then the rest of my team is also below me. Generally with this list, just so you know, you can jump in and see your information and anyone who has lower access than you. So I might be a manager kind of level of access, and I can jump in and see my stuff and anyone who is a field worker. But if you're a lowest at level of access, like a field worker, you'll just be able to see your information, just out of kind of a security level thing. So I can jump into myself here, see my information, add my phone number and things like that if I need to, and also any resources that are applicable to me. Really handy if you need to show your permits to work or your first aid certificates and things like that in your back pocket, ready to go for anyone who needs you to show them. Awesome. Additionally, if you are a manager and you need to add someone to this list because their name's not showing up on the staff list in forms or something like that, what you can do is come to the plus button like we have with equipment and sites and just add in their basic information like name, last name, and email. And then this will generate a QR code. The QR code is there for that user, that new person, to scan, and it automatically logs them into the mobile to start using it. It's just the fast way to get them all in, loaded, and then maybe make a corrective action as well to say to the admin, I need you to make sure that their details are all correct, make sure that they've got any first aid certificates and resources uploaded against them, and just make sure they're actually inducted properly. Awesome. Then from there, we have got general settings. This is if you really want to be a power user and dive in really deep. So we can start to get a light view, a dark view. The system one is just the generic dark view that you get. We can also start to change where our images come from, whether it's just from the camera or your camera roll on your phone. And then also different ways you can start to answer questions. So have a bit of a dive in here and see if there's little settings you want to change. But yeah, you don't have to obviously go this deep, but if you want to be a power user, go for your life. Awesome. The last two items are the switch and sign out. So these here are mainly based around logging in and logging out. Switch will only show up if, say, you're a contractor and you've got a login for two different companies. So say I work for Sanderson Electrical and I work for Buchanan Building and I work for Nichelle's Construction. So what I'll do is I'll click onto my switch item and I'll choose which one I want to enter so that I can go complete forms for those companies. Today I'm all good. I'm going to stay in my Buchanan Building account and then kind of go and complete the forms. Then from there, the sign out aspect, if I just click on that one, this will sign me out of this account and I can go and log in and see this page where we're going to start off. So this is where you'll also begin the whole kind of logging in process. So we kind of download the app, obviously, find this page when we open it up, and you can start to put in your email address and your password to click sign in. Now, the only thing different here is if you maybe forgot your password, click on that forgot password item. It'll send you a reset email or reset password link, and you have about 2 hours to do that change of password. If you don't do it within the 2 hours, that's also fine. Just come back into this page, click on forgot password again. It'll resend that link as many times as you need. Awesome. That is the whole deep dive of the mobile.